Good morning, welcome to another Vlogtober. Today I've got quite a bit of cooking to do. I've had a late breakfast with my overnight oats, and I have quite a bit to get ready food wise today. So I think I'm going to do, well I am going to do leek and potato soup for tea. So I'm going to get a big pot of that on this morning. Also I'm going to make some homemade bread. I'm thinking rye and caraway seed bread for tea, with mostly white flour but with some rye thrown in. I don't measure anything, I just kind of go by eye. And it's not sourdough. I have done sourdough bread. My very neglected sourdough starter is in the fridge, but to be perfectly honest, I prefer bread made with yeast rather than sourdough. So I've got that to make. Also apple pie, the first one of the season. I have made a crumble so far this year, but that's all I've done with the apples. So I need to make a apple pie, the first one. So I need to go and see if I have any eating apples to pick. I have lots of cooking apples, but really an apple pie needs eating apples in there too, to give it some texture rather than just pulp. So I've got that to make as well. So pastry, bread dough, soup and pie filling. So I better get on because it's going to take me a little while. I've come out to pick some eating apples. I have a lot of Bramley apples, cooking apples in the house that have already come off the trees. They're the ones that they cook down to a pulp very, very quickly. So in a crumble, that's perfect. In a pie, it just means you just have apple sauce basically in your pie. So I like to put a mixture of Bramley apples and eating apples, so you have a bit of texture as well. I have no idea what variety apples I have. I think I have some James Grieve, I have Braeburn, but they're not ready yet, and I have a mystery apple tree here behind me. This one was already here when we moved in. It doesn't really produce many apples. This year it's got maybe about 8 apples on it, which is the most it's ever had. I think it's probably one of those stray trees that appear when somebody's dropped an apple core. I could be wrong, it could have been planted by a previous owner, but it's never done very well. And we usually lose 1 or 2 apples that are on this because they get forgotten about. So I'm going to see any that are a bit bigger on this one I'm going to take, and then I'll go around to the ones that we have planted and just gently touch some of the eaten apples and see if any want to come off, and then they can go in the pie too. I'm making a very typical kind of British apple pie today. I usually do one like British style one American style one, at least through the autumn period. So like a British apple pie, usually like Bramley apples, like cooking apples, it's quite pulpy, not very chunky. It's made with like white sugar, no spices or anything like that. It's very much just apple, that's it, apple. And that's the way I was raised. We always had apple. If we had apple pie just had apple in it. And then like what I think of as an American style apple pie, it has like cinnamon or spices, other spices, sometimes like brown sugar or other dried fruits and stuff in it sometimes, and tends to be of a chunkier texture. So they're very, very different, but they're also both really, really nice, just in their own way. So like a British style one is like that, just really intense, just apple flavour, nothing to kind of take away from that appliness. So that's what I'm doing today, just a plain old British style apple pie. If I remember, I will sprinkle a little bit of granulated sugar on top of the pastry, but most of the time I forget. And it's just a short crust pastry, nothing fancy, no like flaky puffy pastry type like that. It's just plain old short crust pastry. I don't even add sugar to the pastry for an apple pie, just plain bog standard short crust.